after a knee injury that required 5 operations. It's a story of unfulfilled potential. He's been described as one of the few world-class players England has ever produced, the greatest defender since Duncan Edwards and Bobby Moore. Yet, because of injury, he won just 9 England caps.
So tonight, a few quick memories of Kevin Beattie, the player Bobby Robson describes as strong as iron and daft as a brush. Well, Beattie was born and brought up in Carlisle, and the first memory comes from Ron Gray, the Ipswich chief scout, and the man who had the job of meeting the young 16-year-old when he arrived at Euston Station way back in 1970.
One met him at Euston Station, coming off the train, and there was a lad there. Well, I always look to see the conspicuous, whether they're conspicuous. Well, this lad was conspicuous, as a matter of fact. He had a brown paper parcel, and there was the toe end of his boot sticking out the parcel. That must be Kevin Beattie. So then we were playing a match on Saturday morning against Fulham at Putney. 11 o'clock kick-off, Saturday morning, here we go, take him. And the first touch of the ball, there was a distinguish of class about his touch. And then his aerial path, I thought, blimey, where have you seen that before, Ronald? So going back to the memories of Charlie Hills, the Tommy Lawtons and John Charles, they were assets in the and this boy had the same. But also, he was a streak of lightning on the ground. His left foot was dynamite, and great. So I couldn't get the phone quick enough to tell the governor, there's a star in the making here, and that's Kevin Beattie.
Oh, Beattie comes up. And out here, there's a lot of freedom for Mills behind. Beattie's going on his own. Oh! Pick that
one up. Oh, my word. He was a great player. I mean, I know you've got Bobby Charles and Jimmy Cleavers and people like that, but I mean, I would think outside of George Best, he must be the next best player this country has produced.
Egan takes it up. And Beattie is the only man up with him, of all people, the fullback. The chip comes in towards Beattie, and it's there again! 2-0!
Obviously, Bobby Charles and Jimmy Greaves, George Best, they were forwards. But in terms of a back four player, I would say he was the best defensive player, but who could play forward, that this country has produced.
Mills chips it up. There's Wymark. Beattie coming round. Oh, what strength! And again, oh my word, what an incredible bit of play.
Well, it might sound a bit funny, but every time I played with Kevin Beattie, it was a memorable game because, I mean, I keep saying this, people don't appreciate what a player this fellow was. And just to play beside him was, for me, was first class. But as I say, the cup final was well, I always look back on that as a great memory, playing with Kevin Beattie, as well as the rest of the lads.
Oh, he's gone past Nelson, across the face of the goal. That's got to be it, and it is it. What a moment, the first time in their history.
Kevin Beattie there, really dressed for the afternoon. He's having the time.
Let him out the way.
I came down here as an apprentice, and at the time he was sort of at England under 23, and he was the only player I ever heard of in Ipswich. And I first came, and he sort of came into the dressing room, and he was talking away to me and other apprentices, and I was really grateful for that because it took me a few months to sort of get settled in because I was very homesick. And I think Kevin had a lot to do with me settling in because he used to talk to us a lot and treat me as if he's known me for years.
And I remember Charlie Woods came to me one day and said, quick, go and have a look at Beattie's in their youth team, reserve dressing room, you see. So I slid down the corridor, and there he was on a Thursday lunchtime. And he'd been to the office, and he'd got all the kids' pay packets. And he was standing on the kicking block. We have a kicking block in the dressing room, you know, where people bang their feet into it, you know. And he was standing on it, so he was about 18 inches above everybody else. And he had all the youth teams sitting down on their seats in the dressing room, you know. And he had their pay packets on his hand, on his arm, you see. And he was just being the paymaster. And I slid up behind him. He didn't know I was there, you know, and there was all the kids. And he was shouting, he was saying, Russell Irvin. And he would say, don't know how the boss signed you on pro. And they would say, Stevie Gardner, who signed you on? Nigel Crouch. If the boss had seen you play last Saturday, he said, you'd have been up here next year. And he was, and he had a little, and you know, he could, and the kids loved him, you see. He was always mixing with it, because that's really what he was all his life. He was a young kid.
Almost runs himself into trouble. Power gets him through. Oh, shot! Kevin Beattie, my word, that's skill and power.
Well, I first remember Kevin Beattie when I used to play for Birmingham, and used to watch him on the television like any other game, and you used to think, oh, what a brute, like he's built like a brick outhouse. And he used to be quite frightening just to watch on the TV with his power and pace. And then when I got transferred to it, I got a gentle surprise, really, and quite a pleasant one, because he was such a great character, and he'll be sadly missed around the building if he ever leaves. He was, well, the manager says as daft as a brush, but in a nice sense of the word.
The latter half of Kevin Beattie's career was, of course, a constant battle against injury. But injury problems didn't always revolve around that famous knee. One Sunday, Bobby Robson's phone rang with the news that Beattie was in hospital with first-degree burns from a back garden bonfire.
And when I saw him, I mean, I just thought, my goodness. He said, hello, boss, he said. He could hardly talk. Hello, boss. He said, I'm ever so sorry, he said. He said, but I think I'll play Saturday. I thought, you'd play Saturday? I thought, it'll take him a year. Well, it took him 6 months, didn't it?
I think probably the crowd, they'll remember his blistering left foot shots from free kicks and his ability to climb in the air. But for me, it was his tremendous pace on recovery and his ability to catch people. If he was beaten, he'd always catch them and get a recovery tackle in. But the crowd will probably remember when he hits a ball with his left foot, it just rockets into the net, you know, and the net shakes, and that's Beattie, you know.
Free kick to Ipswich with Beattie shaping for this one. On the edge of the area, Woods and Mariner. Jakes playing off the two of them. And Harvey will have that. It's in the back of the net, and Beattie scored!
And your chance of saying thank you to Kevin Beattie next Wednesday at Portman Road.